Best of PandaDoc 2023, a showcase of our top 5 new features. I'm your host, Travis Panda Tyler, who needs to mute his Slack, and today I am joined by Mike K from the product team at PandaDoc. Welcome, Mike. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for the intro, Travis. You speak so narratory. I don't know that I almost feel shy, telling I don't know, responding to you in any kind of way.
I'm just channeling my inner 70s TV game show host. Like, come on down, Mike.
I can certainly feel the vibe. Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you're joining us today on LinkedIn Live or YouTube Live, Facebook Live, wherever you're streaming this from, or if you're watching the recording of this, we are so glad that you made it because we have a lot to cover today. PandaDoc has been super busy building awesome new features this year, and we're excited to share our top features and what they do, why they're important, how they can help you. And Mike's going to give us a couple of short demos, but we're definitely going to talk about as well what is to come in 2024 because PandaDoc is staying busy as we build even more new feature sets to help our customers grow alongside us. So, Mike, tell us where you're calling in from. I heard an airplane flying over. And then for the audience, please go ahead and tell us where you're calling in from today.
Yeah, for me, I'm calling in from, wow, surprisingly rainy Lisbon. It just started pouring outside of my window. Yeah, and you can hear some planes passing by because I'm living in Camp Tourik here, and that's where the plane track comes through. So you can occasionally hear those and some trams too.
Coming in from like the Lisbon, Portugal area?
Yes.
Nice. Man, that's beautiful. Well, I'm calling in from Tampa Bay, Florida. It is a balmy 58 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how cold that is Celsius wise, but for us Floridians, it's a little nippy outside. It's a little nippy. We're glad to have you. Please let us know where you're calling in from. If you're watching this live, we would love to hear from our pandas all over the world. We know that you're building awesome products and trying your best to send proposals, contracts, quotes, and things to get signed. So without further ado, we are 2 minutes over the hour. Let's dive into the best of PandaDoc, our showcase of our top 5 new features from this year. And before we get into that, yes, this is being recorded. Yes, we can send you a recording. You can always go to our website and find the recording. We're usually putting them up 48 hours after we record these live. So if you miss part of it or you're joining late, no worries whatsoever. Mike, let's do a look back into 2023 as I do my Let's talk about some metrics and say, how did PandaDoc help folks this year? I know we keep track of how many documents customers send and the perceived value of some of those documents. So can you tell us a little bit about how many documents people sent using PandaDoc this year?
Oh yeah, totally. We do. We do. I mean, we know so much more than that. We know how many documents they create, how many documents they sent, and even more importantly, how many documents truly get completed, because that's where the value is coming at right at the end of the day. You want those documents signed. And just last year, meaning 2022, it was like roughly 17.5 million documents signed on the platform throughout the year. I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that number. So many. I cannot imagine how much paper we've saved with that. And this year in 2023, we're just shy of 22 million. And I'm pretty sure we'll hit that number by the end of the year, which is amazing, right?
That's amazing. It's so cool to have been here. I know you've been here longer than I have, but I'm coming up on 4.5 years, and just to see the growth of how many people were able to help. It's the reason I joined PandaDoc. It's a product that really kicks butt and just really helps people run their businesses. So it's exciting to see that growth. And as we look at some of the improvements we've made, could you just give us like an idea of where the focus was for 2023 in terms of like what were we really on a high level focused on doing this year at PandaDoc?
Ooh, I mean, it's just so hard to say. There were so many advancements across the board. I mean, just to start, we've invested so much into just plain and simple e-sign capabilities, right? Just making sure that people who don't want much more, but just to get their documents signed with ease, right? We've built so many things in that front, like the basics, right? Think about it, right? Just an ability to edit your recipients in a sent document, for example, or having a date field automatically filled for the recipients so that they cannot misclick into a week ago or a week later the signature. And that is important for so many people, right? And so many tiny things like this in the e-sign category. We're also investing heavily into helping more people close their deals with PandaDoc faster, and I don't know if that's the right word, but with more grace, right? More beautifully, so that the recipients love the experience and they end up saying, "Oh my God, just send me another deal. I'm ready to send that another check to you," right? With PandaDoc CPQ and the new like, quote builder, it was just incredible.
And we're going to dive into those in a bit more depth in just a minute. But I did want to say one of the coolest parts about working at PandaDoc, I'm not on the product team, I'm over here on the social media team, but I love being able to see user voice recommendations and to kind of get an inside glimpse at where people are making suggestions and voting on features they'd like to see. It truly is a customer driven product. And that is so cool that like that feedback really goes to your eyeballs, to the rest of the products team eyeballs, and says, hey, let's build some of this stuff. So can you just briefly touch on what is user voice? How do we use it? And yeah.
Yeah, oh my God. It's honestly, it's really hard to tell which features we had built that were not on the list or were not requested by customers, right? It's just sometimes we don't pick something right at the very top of the list because sometimes it's just really complicated to get it right. And it just takes us years to really prepare for it, prepare all the infrastructure, et cetera. But this year alone, this year started with us introducing ability to copy paste blocks and fields between PandaDoc documents, right? And like now we're finally getting there where you can copy paste multiple blocks and you can do the same with multiple fields too, which saved tons of time for so many people. We've recently introduced variables and titles, which means that the names of the documents, they'll basically assemble themselves, or the documents will name themselves based on the rules that you set for them, right? It's my personal favorite. And yeah, the tiny thing that I was talking about, the auto fill out for date field, that was in user voice. We're now working on so many things that are in the user voice, like the sending the documents via SMS, right, or the two-factor authentication. These are some things that people have been asking for, and we're working on. So yeah, just so many of the things that we're working on
So cool.
are
The
driven by
customer
user voice.
driven, yeah, customer driven insights and customer suggestions come to life as we build them with our engineering team. So I love to see it. Let's dive into
But
uh,
yeah,
the
you know what? Even before we do that, it's not
okay.
only user voice. We for the voice of customer, we are not only looking into the user voice, but we have a few more tools in our toolbox. It's the Net Promoter Score survey, which asks you, "Hey, would you recommend PandaDoc to your colleague or friend?" Or it's the customer satisfaction surveys that pop up every now and then.
Yep.
And damn, we spend so much time analyzing what people tell us in the comments there. We have like this whole process. There are
Yeah.
tons of pie charts that are coming out like every week or so. Where we're looking, okay, you see, there are more people complaining about reliability. What do we do about this? Let's then invest there into this service or into that service, and it gets better, and it stops, and we're like, oh my God, yes, there are no more people complaining about this, or there are more people who want the other thing now. And yeah, this year was there was so many things like that. We've invested into the time that it takes for the document to load until you can start editing it, right, for the last 2 years. And now this category is no longer at the top, like starting in the middle of this year. Not so many people care anymore. Like everybody's pretty much satisfied, which I'm very happy about personally.
So I want to just call out a comment from Evgeny who commented on our LinkedIn Live saying, your marketers should recalculate those documents into saved trees. And I'll have
They
somebody
should.
from my team. We actually did do that, I believe, in our PandaDoc wrapped version that we did in 2022. So I'll have to get somebody to drop the link in there. But Evgeny, great minds think alike. We definitely did calculate how many trees saved and how many, I think, like metric tons of carbon waste we avoided of people using
Exactly.
the PandaDoc product.
I
So
do remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to post a link in there in a minute. But Mike, we've got so much to dive into today. Are you ready to just kind of start with a personal favorite, I think, of yours and mine, which is PandaDoc's new user interface? We have a whole new look and feel, man. This is a
Oh
big deal.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it's not just the new look and feel, right? There's been just so many funny names that we used for this project internally, which I'm not gonna name, obviously. But yeah, there were code names for the project. And oh my God, I'm not sure. Do you want to share my screen at this point or not? Do you think I think it'd be beneficial, right?
Let's do it.
Um, okay, let me share my screen real quickly. There we go. Boom. Can you see it?
Let's see. Let me make sure I can bring it up to the front. Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Damn. The new look and feel, right? It's been so many years that PandaDoc has been sitting with the same, front page, with the same side navigation, with all of the same things. It's been more than 10 years now. But at this point, we figured out that, hey, it's been so long, right? We already have so many more solutions that we have to offer. We already know our customers so much better. And the reimagination of how you find what you need in PandaDoc is a response to the change in the audience that's been using PandaDoc, is a response to where we're going, how we're expanding the toolbox for our customers. And you can see it's like there's just so many new tools right here. I don't want to show everything probably right away, but yeah, for me, this is my personal favorite change of this year.
And I think it's important for people to know, like, it's not just about changing it for the sake of changing it, right? To have a refreshed look. It's really about understanding where folks are spending the most time and making it as simple and easy to use as possible, right? So PandaDoc boasts itself in comparison to its competitors as having the easiest to use drag and drop document building tool, right? Instead of having to just always upload your existing documents, you can create really professional looking proposals, quotes, and contracts inside of PandaDoc. And being able to do that in just a easier, faster way, especially for growing teams. I'll stop talking and let you kind of like walk through a couple of those things.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with home. The new home is something that we've been working over like 2022, trying to figure out how do we serve the at the same time the people who are creating documents daily, the content creators who are creating the templates for them, the people who are creating documents from templates, the people who are creating documents through uploads, they're the approvers, right? The managers that are there just to see, hey, how's my team doing? Are they sending enough documents this week? Do I need to approve anything? Do I need to sign anything this week? And so yeah, this new home is a response to that, to make sure that all of the multitude of use cases are covered, not just covered, but there's plenty of customization so that you only see the tabs that are working for you, right? So if you are there just to approve and to sign documents, you can remove everything. You can remove the finalized, you can remove the drafts, and
Mhm.
boom, and you start right away on the actions required tab, and it just tells you, okay, here are the documents that I have to sign today, and I'm done with my day, right? Um, there's home. We moved inbox higher. Well, I probably don't want to flash what's there because that's probably going to showcase some of my personal documents. The new reporting is there to look like how beautiful it is, how easy it is to navigate it, how easy it is to build your own custom report and see the metrics behind your team, or how different documents, different types of content perform for your team. You can see that we've made space for apps, and we're going to talk about the specifics here, right? But you can see that there's a whole section for documents that encapsulates the PandaDoc circa 2013, right? You have your documents, templates, content library, and catalog, right? And there are more new, fancier applications we're going to talk about later. There are automations that we've launched this year. There's a dev center if you're into managing your API. There's the management of context, and obviously the marketplace, which provides you an easy way to control the look and the experience for all of the users which is again an extension of the admin's capabilities in setting up the experience of the team. Right? There's more coming to it a bit later. I'm not going to spoil everything right away.
I love it, man. I love that you dive more into which I'm saying it's just easier to use. It's like, no, there's so much more. Like, you're just scratching the surface, right? With what you can do with one of your most important business tools to operate.
Oh, and it certainly is easier to use too. We can tell it from the metrics, right? I'm not going to name any exact numbers or anything, but surely people who are experiencing PandaDoc, it's easier for them to find what they need, and that's what we're aiming for. And that's awesome that they're actually capable of doing that, and that we're successful in delivering this update.
I love it. I love it, man. All right, well, let's dive into, now that we've kind of covered the basics of the new PandaDoc user interface and the new look and feel and homepage for PandaDoc users, let's talk about the other 5 features we're going to dive into today. Advanced quotes, aka PandaDoc CPQ. Let's talk about it. What is all this?
Let's talk about it. Okay, here's my favorite template. It's a bit outdated, but it's my favorite, so I'm still sticking to it. Probably our ops and sales team would not be happy if they see me, using this kind of old template nowadays at the end of 2023. But here I am. So please don't tell them.
Secret safe with me.
Yeah, this is the let's say I am selling PandaDoc subscription to somebody, right? This is a proposal from me to the personal favorite Acme company. And it's loaded with all of the fancy PandaDoc features. As you can see, there's this title that's going to assemble itself based on some of the information about the recipients and myself, and about the deal, like the total value of the deal and when it's going to expire, and all of this. There's some smart content embedded, and I can have some of the custom case study based on the industry of the prospect. And then obviously what we were going to talk about, the quotes, right?
Let's do it.
The PandaDoc CPQ. I'm not gonna let's just talk now first a bit about the design, right? Because that's the biggest, something that you will notice right away, and something that the recipients of the document will notice right away when you're using quotes, is all of the new fancy layouts, right? That allow you to have these really long and detailed descriptions and pictures in them without sacrificing the structure, right? My favorite, especially when selling something like subscriptions, is this card view, because it works so well if you want somebody, your prospect, to pick one of the options, right? But if it's multiple products that are in the same quote that you're not selecting from, this is the view I'd go for. But in this case, I'm sticking with the card layout. Obviously, there's just so much more to customization. It's just even to the corner style. Damn, I know all the designers are probably happy about it. For me, it's like, like whatever. They were asking for it, so there it is.
There
right?
it is.
But then, yeah, there's just so many more different colors. Right? There's the primary color, which is the new PandaDoc green. There's the background color, which is not your simple gray, right? It's the PandaDoc gray color here too. I have not worked on the divider and footer and border colors, which are still all customizable, right? We can go ahead and like reuse one of the colors that I already have in my palette here, or I can add a new color based on the hex or the RGB panels. And there's more to it, right? What I like about this module is that it lets me decide what recipients can and cannot do. For example, I can let them collapse descriptions. If I know that sometimes the descriptions are really large, but they are important for people, I can just, let them collapse and decide which is the default state. Is going to be collapsed, is going to be expanded. And obviously I can also work with the bundles here, which is a big thing about PandaDoc CPQ, right? Bundles and volume-based pricing, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. as well as some great presentation for the recurring items versus one-off items, right? If you're selling like a service and then you're selling a subscription, it's very easy to tell in the CPQ module which one is which. Let's probably go ahead and try that out, right?
Yeah, let's do it. While
Let me
you're getting that
use,
set up, I think what I really enjoy most about this is the look and feel. So many times if you're in a procurement team and the buying process that you're setting up for your customers, it's it just doesn't scream professionalism, right? Like we're in 2023 going into 2024. How people shop and buy for things, I think this really nicely reflects like an e-commerce experience that's just like so much more fluid, so much easier on the eyes. The line items of like a traditional awful looking, quote are just, especially with this level of detail that we're introducing of recurring pricing and bundling and just truly what CPQ tools were designed to do. So I think when you combine just the beauty, right, for lack of a better word, of what the designers and engineers at PandaDoc built, and what you're able to deliver your customers, it's just like, yeah, why are you sending me this like, quote that looks like you built it in 2002? Shout out to 2002. But yeah, like it's just, I mean, this is like, we're talking procurement in 2024, baby. Like, let's go. Like, this is awesome.
yeah, thank you for this intro. While you were talking, I took the liberty of just adding some of the products to this quote. Right, you can see that I have all of my subscriptions here added, and I have some of the volume documents just to showcase some of the tiered pricing. And now that I save this, what's going
Oh,
to happen? I see this amazing cars, but I can also just hide description,
dude,
right?
that's
Also
sick.
by default,
Yeah.
and it's just changed the layout of the document. But yeah, I personally like to see all of this just to be able to easily compare, right? And it's going to be super easy for the recipient to select one of the items, and I can pre-select right here too, right? So it's one of the items is pre-selected if I wish so. And then for the tiered based items, as you can see, by default, the recipients will be able to change the quantity that they need. And when they change the quantity, the price per item changes based on my setup. You can see it's already, hey, buy 10,001 or above and save 10%. It shows you
Ooh.
what the deal is, how much you're going to save with each tier. That's something I absolutely love about
Yeah.
quotes.
You know what that reminds me of, Mike, is when you get a receipt at a restaurant and it calculates the different tips, and it's like, if you tip 20%, it will be this amount. And you just check the box. You're like, yeah, yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah, basically, we're removing the thinking
Yep.
that your prospect needs to do, right, to understand that the deal works for them.
Yep. That's a great way to put it. It reminds me of a pricing page that you would see on a website, and it behaves in a similar way where people, this is the last step for a lot of companies in their sales process. So why make it difficult? You're so close to the finish line of closing the deal and getting money in the door. Let's make it beautiful. Let's make it easy. Let's take the thinking out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and look at this. This like I love it so much. The fact that now when I'll hit the send button, I will not have to think about renaming the document and coming up with all this like renaming, remembering what is our naming convention for this document. It's just there, right? It already says, hey, PandaDoc Acme annual plan proposal, and there's the deal value, right, which is 0 at the moment because nothing is selected, and then it's valid until the expiration date is going to update on sending, right? Because it depends on when I sent the document. That's awesome. Yeah, I can see that because I did not create this document from a CRM, this variable was not filled out, and it kind of reminds me, hey, dude, please choose the industry of the customer, and I can do that right here.
That's insane. Look at that.
Oh,
Boom.
look, Travis, Nolan is saying that that LinkedIn stream is not live. Oh my god.
It's live on my end.
Can you
If they
check
just
what's
go to
going on here?
if they just go to the PandaDoc LinkedIn, they'll see it. Yeah, they can also
Okay.
go to the PandaDoc YouTube and the PandaDoc Facebook. We're live.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah. Whew. Okay.
Yeah. So The other thing I was going to say here is we've talked about tiered pricing. We've talked about subscriptions. We've talked about bundles of products. Is there any other kind of last thing that you want to call out with these advanced quotes? Because there's so much. We only have so much time.
I mean, just there's so many, but I guess let's just stop here. It's already been like 10 minutes that we're talking just about PandaDoc CPQ.
We can move on
But
to another feature that we're excited about. Is it the copy and paste fields and blocks while preparing content?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, it's not. Maybe it's not necessarily for when you're preparing your documents, or not when you're working with templates necessarily. But well, I mean, think about it. Now I have these. Oh, I don't think I have the multi-block selection available in this account yet. But you can already drag your blocks individually like this super easily,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
you can already move and paste like multiple fields at once, right? And I'll show you that probably. Okay, yeah, I've edited this by mistake. Let me just remove it altogether, which I like, right? And here, hey, I have these fields. If I see that they are not lined up perfectly to something, I can just move them all together like this, right, to the left or to the right, and I don't have to do this individually. I like it so much. But then when I do have to create a new PDF document or a new template, this helps so much more. Like I can just go ahead and copy paste the three, and boom, I have all three fields right here. Oh, it looks like one of them behaved erratically, and I'm sorry for that. Those fields, they
It's all
just
good.
yeah, they just like to behave in their own ways. But that's probably also because of some fields, not fields, but the block structure here.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's the
so yeah,
block structure. Yeah.
I can just quickly copy paste everything, and I absolutely love it. And as I just said, the next thing that's hopefully coming very, very soon is the ability to select multiple blocks at once too, and just
Mhm.
move them around. It's just going to save so much time for so many people. I absolutely love it.
I love it. And
And
again, if people are watching this and you spend a lot of time working on documents, it's the subtle little changes. Like I'm pretty sure again, this was a recommendation from our customers that voted in user voice, that told us in our CSAT, that gave us customer success feedback. This was a simple yet powerful feature for 2023. So really cool.
oh yes, sir. Yeah, all of that was coming from user voice, and especially for fields, especially for when you're creating your like form like PDFs. Ooh, that's where the biggest time savings are coming in.
Let's move on to autofill. Autofill, signature and
Yeah,
date. This is a huge one for the like a very end of your, you're like, all right, this document, whether hopefully you're working from a template, so it wasn't like too taxing of a time, but you're like, this has got to go out. And then you send it, right? And then there's some cumbersome stuff that can happen. Let's talk about autofill date.
yeah. Well, it's just as easy as that. Well, recipients sometimes they do make mistakes, right? They're people. They would pick not the today date, but the day after, or the day before, or the week after, or introduce the wrong year. And what are you going to do? You have a contract that is signed with the wrong date, and sometimes that puts you in a position you don't want to be, right? So a solution to that is very simple. It's the in the field properties, there's this date options section now that lets you autofill the fields with either signing date, which will appear here once the recipient completes the document, or a custom date, which is even more interesting. Like if you have a contract that has some cancellation clauses that are time based on, hey, if somebody signed the document today, they only have like 7 days to cancel, or like 30 days for a money back or something like that. You can have an actual date of the end date of this proposal within your contract based on the signature date of the recipient. So if you're saying, hey, you have 30 days, instead of just saying you have 30 days, you can have the field that they'll say here, you have until, let's say, December 17th, right?
Yep.
If I'm signing today and it's just 5 days. So that's the beauty of it. Very simple yet super powerful.
Yeah, and again, it's like the smallest little things that just add up and save you time when they're all kind of bundled together with these new features. Let's move into some basic smart content and variables, especially in titles and in templates.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I've already showcased that. Yeah, we do have the smart content has gone a long way over the last 2 years,
Mhm.
right? It's just so much more robust. It's so much faster. I'd say that for the people who had their documents loaded with smart content, it got like 3 or 4 times faster over this year. So that's amazing, and we have some more upgrades coming for it soon too. And as you can see, even if I did not have the variable values coming from my CRM, I can
Mhm.
still fix things manually. And if I didn't pick anything and just leave this empty page like this, it's going to be removed on sending. So I don't have to think about it twice. The document is just going to be ready for sending independently of what I do.
It's like, have faith in the smart content. It is smart.
Yeah, smart enough.
All right, cool. Was there any other feature that maybe I forgot to mention that you wanted to go before we dive into our sneak peek of 2024?
I think it's the editing of the recipients after sending, right?
Perfect.
And what I'm going to do is that's what happens very often is that, oh wait, let me just remove the payment module from this.
Oh, you're good. While you're
We,
doing
we,
that, I just wanted to call out, I did see a comment from somebody on our YouTube saying like, "Hey, there might have been a delay in the LinkedIn live feed." No worries, guys. It's totally going to be recorded. Absolutely, we're excited that you're excited. Apologies if there was any delay on LinkedIn. I've been seeing people comment since the very beginning, so I'm not sure if it just populated in a different place, but we've been live and we're excited you're here, and we're definitely sending out a recording. And we've got an awesome blog that covers way more than this if you want to get back to it later. So thanks for hanging with us, guys. So go ahead, Mike.
yeah. So getting back to editing recipients and some documents. Finally, so what used to happen back in 2022, and I think even in Q1 this year, in the first quarter of this year, you would have to, if you realize suddenly that the email is not right or the receipt or the signer of the document is not right, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go back to edit the document, get it back into the draft stage,
Oh,
edit it, reassign the fields, and then
oh,
send it again.
oh.
I know so many people were just furious about it, and I'm really, I'm really ashamed that it took us so much time to get here. But finally, here we are, right? And you can just do it. You can just edit if you realize that the email is off. You can edit it right here, which I'm not going to change your email, Travis. It's correct, right? You can change the email here. This person was going to get the notification right away. Or if you sent the document and it was not the email that was not right, but it was not the right signer, and it happens frequently, right? You've sent like to a manager of the department, but they're telling you a week later they're telling you, hey, look, it's actually a VP that needs to sign or something like this, or it needs
That
to be a
happens a
legal
lot.
sign up.
Yeah.
And yeah, all you have to do is just hit the change signer, you choose a new signer, and you're good.
Beautiful. That's huge. Again, like I can tell you I've done that before sending a PandaDoc. I send out a lot of waiver releases to people and I ended up sending it to like their personal email address instead of like their professional one or whatever. And they're like, hey, actually, and then I had to go back in those 3 steps of like, and it was like, oh, and now it's just like, yeah, dude, just change the recipient. It's all good.
I'm so happy we invested into it.
Beautiful. All right, let's take a look. We are at the 30, almost like coming up on the 35-minute mark. We hope that you guys are enjoying this. And again, this will be recorded. We have an awesome blog that covers all of these updates and more in greater depth. But we're glad that you're joining us here today. And we're going to talk about 2024. It's a big year for PandaDoc. And one of the things that we're most excited about that I want to mention is PandaDoc Rooms. So, what is a PandaDoc room? Is it a room full of pandas? I wish, because that would be really cute and cuddly. But no, we are starting off rooms for sales. And I'm going to read the description of it, but then I'm going to dive into it a bit more and like why the heck we're building it. So it's a convenient hub to organize all your resources, delighting buyers from initial discovery all the way through contract, signature, onboarding, and beyond. The idea, guys, is that we are trying to get rid of a lot of the back and forth and missed opportunities and missed important details that happen in email. So, an email is a place where people are just bombarded with content and information, and sometimes things can slip through the cracks. So, with PandaDoc Rooms that we're building in 2024, the idea is to get everyone on the same page, help your deals just move faster, and stay in control of all the different resources that are involved, right? So, if you've got things that you want to organize into files or folders, and just making sure that the right people have access to the right stuff at the right time, especially if your deals are complex, right? We just showed off PandaDoc CPQ and all of the different things you can do with a quote. We understand that deals can be very detailed, very complex, involve multiple, key stakeholders on the procurement side. And so, yeah, make sure that you're sharing content in a smarter way with personalized workspaces. Think of it almost as like a mini site for this deal to happen. So that's Rooms. Am I missing anything, Mike, that maybe you wanted to include? Or did I, as for the social media guy, did he cover it okay?
No, I loved it. I loved it. I'm just thinking, hey, do we want to flash it real quick or not? That's the thought that keeps popping in my head.
Hey, man, you're in control here. You're driving. I'll let you, do that as well if you would like to.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a 5-second flash of what a room could look like, right? I'm not sure if I'm gonna get killed afterwards or not or what, right? But here we go.
Drum
That's the room.
roll. Here we go.
Yeah, that's your room, right? You have a homepage that
Yay.
kind of
That looks
tells everybody what this deal is about, right? That kind of summarizes the type of relationship that you have with the people that are in this room, right? Whether this is a room with your prospect or with a customer, just tells you, hey, this is a room about PandaDoc. And then there are the actions that needs to be completed, and all the documents and files just readily available for you. And obviously what you see right now is far from a complete solution, right? This is just something that we're working on, and it already feels amazing to me, right? I'm not going to share it for too long, so you don't get too many details. You still probably can on the recording, but yeah, that's what it is. It just gives you, as Tyler just said, sorry.
Two first names. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me to remember which one is which. But yeah, it's truly just a convenient hub for you to be able to keep in touch with your customers and keep track of where the deal is at, and just have everything at your fingertips.
Absolutely. Oh, we've got a fan of yours, Mike. Trisha on our Facebook Live is saying, Mike K,
Yay.
star eyes and waves. So, hey, Trisha, I wanted to say hi to you. Thanks for tuning in today. Rooms is awesome. And there are actually a lot of tools out there that exclusively do Rooms. We're excited to be able to bundle that into the PandaDoc feature suite as like, hey, you're already using us for your contracts or your quotes or your proposals or your agreement documents. Why not just also be able to have a deal room? You don't have to get an additional file, or excuse me, a different additional tool in your tool set. It just comes bundled with PandaDoc. So we're excited for that in 2024. And then let's dive into forms. Is that something you still wanted to talk about, Mike, or did we want to go into the CLM?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can talk about everything. I'm just not sure about the time. Right? I don't have a fancy form prepared, but basically, it's still your basic familiar forms, right? That you would send to somebody to collect information. Typically, we are thinking about forms in the context of you working with documents, right? Oftentimes, some of you just need to get some more information from your customers to be able to use that information in your contracts, in your SOWs, in your NDAs, right? And so for us, forms is just another great way for you to start this document creation process, right? And because of that, we're working on this amazing form builder, which will let you have a fully customizable flow for your recipient to just introduce all the info about themselves, about the potential deal, and everything that you want, to then hopefully, right, create a template or a proposal based on this, and maybe even send it automatically.
That would be nice. I don't know if we're going to be able to sneak peek that one, but do we want to dive into CLM?
Yeah, I won't be able to show the CLM yet, though.
All good.
But I won't be able to show it. But yeah, this is a big one. Obviously, well, I would not even call it necessarily CLM at this stage, right? But what we're seeing is that in terms of how people work with their contracts, over time, you would see first dozens, then hundreds, then thousands of documents in your document repository. And what we're trying to solve for you is to make it super easy for your teams to understand, hey, are there liabilities in my documents? How do I find the documents that are with this customer? How do I find the documents that and then have this particular clause in them? How do I so all of these questions, we just want to make sure that it's super easy for you to answer them. And that's what we're working on. Hopefully there's going to be something available by the end of Q1, right, that you'll be able to partake in and provide us some feedback. But yeah, that's as much as I can tell at the moment.
Lips are sealed. It's a vault. It's a vault. Anyone that's listening, they're like, I'm going to hold you to that, Mike. I'm going to be DMing you and finding out where you guys are at in Q1 with CLM, CLM contract lifecycle management. I'm excited for it. It's a new evolution, a new stage of PandaDoc, and making it even easier, like you said, Mike, with your repository as it builds up over time. As our last kind of piece, we're coming up on the 45-minute here. And for those who are finally finding our LinkedIn Live or our Facebook Live, we're excited you're here. And again, apologies if there was any mix-up that you weren't able to find it right away. But this will be recorded. You can rewind back and watch this as well. Go to the bathroom, go grab a snack, and then come back and rewatch it. No big deal. We're excited as well for 2024 to continue our focus on UX and quality. Do you want to talk a little bit, Mike, about that and what that means for our users?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first things first, right? Over the last years, we've built lots of new features, and that we're solving lots of problems for our customers. But what we're seeing is that as you add more complexity, more solutions, it's getting harder for people to use them, right? And the connective tissue between them becomes not as good as we would like it to be. And so our focus is on just making sure that when you, as a customer, as PandaDoc's customer, when you log into PandaDoc, it just works for you. It feels like you've been there forever, even if it's your first day. That's kind of the idea, right? Currently, we're using this word or this phrase in our business unit that's it's called well-lighted path, right? Ooh. What we want to make sure is that when you come in, it's just very easy for you to understand what you should do to reach success, as it means what success means in PandaDoc is typically sending your documents.
Yeah, somebody with like a lantern, and they're like, "Come, follow me. I'll show you where to go through the darkness of document land." Yeah.
Yeah, in simpler words, removing distractions, making sure that basic operations, they just work, right? If you're trying to do something, it feels natural. That's the idea.
Beautiful. And then I think we can wrap this up. We're coming up on 45 minutes. If I see any questions come in, I will definitely bring them up. But Mike, tell me what you're most excited for in 2024, because you have your hands in a lot of different pots. I know there are lots of different, kind of product teams that focus on different areas of the tool. But what are you personally most excited to like work on with the team?
Oh, now I have to translate from my product lingo to normal language in my head.
Yep.
But yeah, basically the problem that my team is working on is how do we make sure that when somebody signs up for PandaDoc, they get to success, they get to all of their workspace and all their content set up really quickly, and there are no distractions on their way. That's the problem that we're solving, and I'm so excited for it. Right? I was just talking about the UX. That's basically the same thing. We're thinking, hey, you're coming to us. Where are you getting your content from? Are you copying and pasting something from the website? Are you just importing your old Google Docs or like Microsoft Word docs into PandaDoc to create some new templates? Are you starting with a public template? How do we merge this all together so it feels natural for you, so you can reuse different pieces together and still benefit from all of the amazing automations features in PandaDoc, so it's easy and quick for your team to create documents afterwards? How do you prepare all this workspace so that in a week you can invite like 30 more people into the workspace and they just log in, hit I'm happy, and it's boom, all the documents are completed, right? That's what I'm super excited about. And there's just so much more beneath it, but I'm not ready to talk about it just yet.
I think that's great. It's a perfect note to end it on. We just reached the 45-minute mark of this presentation. This will be recorded. We will be sharing it. Thank you, Mike, for joining us today. Thank you to our customers who put in so much effort to give us feedback. And Mike with the hearts, I love it. Look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's my favorite emoji.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always open and available for some DMs and some questions that I can drop to Mike personally into the Slacks. He's a busy guy, but it's my job to respond to you guys and engage with you. So let's have fun in 2024 with PandaDoc. All right, Mike, thanks for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks, Travis.
All right.